For those who are saying size doesn't matter, I hate to tell you, it does. Hey everyone, Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another video. And today I want to be talking about something that is making its way around the six scale community. It's something that I was trying to avoid making this video about, but ultimately I came across some comments and things that I had to give my spin on the narrative that I feel like is developing in the six scale community, which a lot of people are rallying behind. So I thought it was really interesting to finally make this video. It was something that I've had in the works for a couple weeks now. It was an on again, off again thing. And ultimately, I decided to record it. Now, as I said, there's a narrative that's being pushed around. There's a couple different phrases. Less is more seems to be a popular one that circles itself around. Or people are saying that, in terms of your collector status, how many figures you have in your collection, things like that. And obviously, people are weighing in with differences of opinions. Ultimately, it's all trivial. At the end of the day, everyone's collection is their own. It's silly. But as I said, in the Facebook groups, some on YouTube comments, it seems to be a narrative being developed that less is more, and curate and things like that. And I've even seen Facebook posts of people saying, the larger your collection, the bigger voice that you have. Is a silly thing to say. Everyone's voice is equal no matter what, and things like that. So like I said, there's this narrative that's being spun, and obviously there's a lot of people rallying behind it. And so I wanted to make this video kind of breaking down my thoughts about your collection size and the validity that gives to you as a collector. Now, let me be very, very frank by stating this in the video. It doesn't matter how many figures you have, okay? Everyone has a voice. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, social media in general has become a very powerful weapon in our lives. It's inescapable. No matter how much you try, it's inescapable. You're on some form of social media every day, whether it's one of those platforms for work reasons, do it yourself, or just catching up with friends, family, sharing photos, things like that. So social media is it's embedded in our everyday fabric of our lives. And it gives everyone a voice. Some people are posting photos of their collection in Facebook groups, Instagram. People are giving reviews of figures, their opinions on figures. When a figure comes out, people are very expressive, whether they like something, don't like something, whatever it may be. Some even take it a step further and decide to create a social media channel, like a YouTube channel, where they're more consistently putting out content, figure reviews, opinionated live streams, things of that nature. That being said, everyone has a voice. There's no gatekeeping. I mean, obviously, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, certain people can block people so they don't see things. If there's spats online, things like that. But ultimately, the internet has allowed everyone to have a voice and share their opinion, regardless of if you agree with it or not. So, right off the bat, the first kind of thing to get out of the way is, the size of your collection limits the voice that you have, or everyone's voice is equal. It doesn't matter whether you have two hot toy figures or you have 200 hot toy figures. No one is silencing your voice. Everyone has an equal say in what they like, don't like, opinions, regardless of what it is. Whether you agree with it or not, that's a completely separate topic that we will get into. But the reality is, everyone has a voice. There's no gatekeeping of anything. I mean, people do say some silly stuff on social media, or some things that everyone rallies behind as being correct. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the size of your collection doesn't limit your voice on social media. You can collect nothing and still have a voice and say whatever you want, and you are empowered to do that. Everyone has their own right to do that. So like I said, the first thing to knock out of the way is, everyone has a voice. Of course they do. And the size of your collection does not dictate that, nor does it gatekeep you from speaking your mind on anything that you want to talk about. Another narrative being pushed is, if you have a large collection, Well, then you're probably financially irresponsible. I've heard that one quite a few times. Like, who is to say that someone is financially irresponsible because they just see what they want and are able to afford it and they buy it? I do see there's kind of like a shift where those who are collecting less or have less figures in their collection are really kind of chewing up on the people that have larger collections. Every so often, I do see a ridiculous Facebook post or a YouTube video, and that just generates the conversation all over again in terms of people's collecting habits. And like I said, the less is more approach group, and then they're kind of attacking those with larger collections as if they should be ashamed of buying so many figures. I find it completely ridiculous. For me, if I see someone with a large collection, this is going to be the last point of the video. For me, I don't see financial irresponsibility. I see experience. You might have someone with 20 Hot Toy figures. You might have someone with 200 Hot Toy figures. That person with 200 figures ultimately has more experience with Hot Toys than the person with 20. There's no way around it. It just shows that there's experience. Why is experience important? Well, there's going to be collectors out there that are not on the social media platforms. They collect privately. They buy what they see. They put it in their collection, call it a day. They're not worried about flaunting it online. They're not worried about showing off their latest purchase or taking pictures of their collection. They just collect privately. But the reality is, YouTube, the internet, is a place for knowledge. We seek knowledge every day, whether it's YouTube reviews or we want to see people's opinions on things. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But that is pretty much the central hub of YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Some people are seeking the validity of others for one reason or another. That being said, if you're seeing someone there with maybe 15, 20 figures, the reality is they're going to have less experience. But if they're on social media, flaunting, preaching, putting out these videos, it might make you question their validity and, how much do they actually know versus seeing someone with a larger collection. They've kind of experienced things. They've been through the highs of Hot Toys and they've been through the lows of Hot Toys. They've seen great figures come, they've seen great, bad figures go. They've dealt with, broken pieces or things that don't work right, inaccuracies of figures. They've QC issues, you name it. Someone with a larger collection most likely has experienced that stuff. Someone might have purchased recently the Iron Man Mark III 2.0. It's the only Iron Man in their collection, and they think it's fantastic. Now, you look at someone else that might own 5, 6, 7, 8, 15 Iron Man figures. You know, when it comes down to the validity, me personally, I'm going to believe the experience over the person with 15 or 20 figures versus the person with one. That person with one Iron Man is going to basically probably say all they can about that one single figure. But the person that has maybe gone through the evolution of Iron Man understands the plastic versions, the pre-diecast versions, if you will, the ones with the pink panty problem, with the incorrect, the discoloration on the figures. They might have experienced the diecast 1.0 and understand the evolution and technology in the 2.0 Iron Man. So for me, there's more knowledge there, so to speak. Someone with vehicles. There's people online, they'll give you their opinions, their reactions, if you will, but they'll give you reactions to something they don't own versus someone that maybe owns vehicles. So they kind of understand the pros and cons of owning vehicles. Everyone has the right to speak how they want and say what they want when they want. Social media, like I said, gives you that platform. However, what people say and how valid it is, that's going to be open to interpretation. People are going to be judging you and wondering how valid your points are. So, for someone that has a larger collection with a lot of Hot Toy figures and various collectibles, vehicles, things of that nature, their opinion is probably going to hold more weight. In art figures, for example, I have given my opinion on in art figures before, but many are going to think that my points are not valid because I don't own any in art figures. Do I have them on pre order? Yes, I do. Do I own them in my collection now? No, I don't. So I can understand if someone's willing to listen to my opinion. However, they may not see it as credible or valid as someone that does have in art figures. And that is completely okay. And I accept that. Same thing with vehicles. People are going to give you their reactions to a new vehicle that comes out and might try to explain to you the pros and cons, but they don't even own a vehicle. So at the end of the day, they can give you as much information as possible, but how valid are they compared to someone else that does actually own one, two, three vehicles? Like I said, it's all open to the interpretation of those watching the content. And like I said, I just want to wrap up this video. Just want to give you my thoughts once again to drive my point home one more time, because I know people are going to be commenting saying, "Hey, Ryan, Mr. Mom, you sound very preachy, and you're going on, you're doubling down on that, the whole thing about collection size." Well, like I told you, everyone has an opinion, everyone has a voice. I am trying to say that once again, you are entitled to that. However, how valid that is going to be opened to the viewers to decide ultimately, especially if you're putting content on YouTube. Your subscribers or those who watching your videos are going to be the ultimate ones to decide how valid you are compared to the next person. That's just the reality of what it is. But until then, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles saying thank you so much for watching. Please drop a like on this video, and please consider subscribing to the channel if it is in fact your first time. And as always, drop a comment below. I'm sure I'm going to get them. My gatekeeping comments. It's okay. I will interact with everyone in the comments as always. And finally, if you do want to support the channel in other ways, and you do want to hit that little join button down there and become a channel member of the Scrunchy Squad, that's right, that is open to you as well. And I also opened up a new tier called the Tap Dancers for Life, which is a lower tier if you want to be a tap dancer. Once again, it's a joke. Don't take it seriously. But like I said, I thank you so much for the support. As always, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.